बंगाली सिनेमा को दुनिया भर में लेके जाने का काम दो बड़े नामों ने किया। उसमें से एक नाम है ऋतिक घटक। कौन नहीं जानता है ऋतिक घटक साहब को। उनकी कोई भी फिल्म देख लीजिए, उसका कोई भी फ्रेम देख लीजिए, उसकी कोई भी कहानी देख लीजिए, नहीं आपके आपके दिल को छू पाई ऐसी कोई फिल्म है ही नहीं। आज इतने सालों बाद ऋतिक साहब की एक रिलेटिव हमारे बीच आई है और मैं खुद बहुत खुश हूँ उनसे मिलके। उन्हीं से जानते हैं उनका नाम और उनकी बाकी डिटेल। नमस्ते और आपका स्क्रीन ग्राफिया में ढेर सारा स्वागत है।
धन्यवाद।
मुझे आपके बारे में थोड़ा मतलब हमारे दर्शकों को और मैं खुद भी जानना चाहूँगी, आपकी थोड़ी बैकग्राउंड, कहाँ थे आप इतनी साल, क्या कर रही थी?
वेल ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है क्योंकि मेरी शादी हुई थी 74 में एंड 75 में ऋतिक घटक पास्ड अवे. So my shadi was at 12 o'clock midnight. All the guests came and left, but the one guest who didn't arrive, and I gave up. I said नहीं वो नहीं आएंगे. लेकिन जब 12 बजने में थोड़ा सा पहला टाइम जो है उसमें कोई आके ऐसा मुगाओ मुगाओ अमी इशिगिची आई केम. He said that मेरा वो जो नाम है nickname वो है मुनिया. So instead of Munia, he used to call me Mogau. So that was a very loving way of his expression. And Ritik so hugged me and gave me a sari. He came from a work. I mean, like just imagine, he went all the pack up and everything. He came. So that was Ritik because each and every single person in his life is important in family, in friend circle, in everywhere, in workplace, of course.
तो ऋतिक साहब आपके मामा लगते हैं, बराबर? तो ये मामा जी की आपने कितनी फिल्में देखी और कौन सी फिल्म आपको ज़्यादा पसंद है और क्यों?
मैं तो खुद हम लोग जो जब छोटे थे वो तो हम लोग को यूज़ करते थे फिल्में, वो पब्लिक सीन में जो जहाँ बच्चे खेल रहे हैं, वो जहाँ कोई ऐसा सीन है. हमारे दो दीदी हैं, वो दो दीदी को मेघेटा का तारा में वो घुसा दिया. हाँ, वो भी आके बोला कि नीता दी आज তোমাকে গাইতেই হবে. Those two are my two sisters above me. Then we were in the অনেক ঘুইরা শেষে আইলাম রে কলকাতা in the বাড়ি থেকে পালিয়ে scene where the guy was singing that song. There were children playing up there, so we were among them. Then like in Megheta Katara there was a wedding scene where Geeta Ghatak, the younger sister, is getting married and Nita was feeding a little girl some sandesh. At that time, that was Ritik's own older daughter. And like that, several scenes like that, we all participated. So when we grew up through festivals in America, we had like Richard Pena did the New York festival where I saw again so all the films. Then my husband was with Maryland University. They had retrospective. We had right recently we had this Kolkata Film Festival, and time to time, and we also have copies of all the films in our home. But we mostly are very grateful to Ritik's son, who is right now our main topic. I mean, we are all working on Ritik's son because he is really genuinely a very important person in our life. He had been um, like a victim of depression or something else, and that happened after a certain time when he had been doing a lot of things like with Baul and other people. He was into yoga and stuff like that. Then after that he had a little bit of disbalance and some mishap happened. He was a little violent one time, so they decided to keep him in a observation area. So right now for 5 years he had been in a hospital with the care from the government, Mamata Banerjee. But we go and we have some people, we are the one who can sign for him to take him out or bring him back or have someone see him if they want to talk to him. So everything goes through all the relatives who are taking care of him. And there are 2 or 3 very close friends who had been there. Since we live outside, all three of my sisters, we are all outside. Then the twin sister's daughter is in Bangladesh. So, and many other cousins, all are, kind of helping separately. And Parambrata Chattopadhyay, he is a very famous actor, director, everything. He's from our family too. So he's also in this and helping and everything. So he's part of our family. So that's how we are all now uh, among uh, the group of people who are taking care of Ritavan's well-being. And he went to the film festival, and at the closing ceremony he sang, because he said, I'm not going to talk about anything, but I will sing. He was a student in Shantiniketan. All three children of Ritik went to Shantiniketan because he loved Rabindranath Tagore.
All three of them are
All
there.
three children went to Shantiniketan. The younger daughter was an artist from Kala Bhavan. She was a famous dancer. She was versatile also. And the older daughter was into writing. Her name was Shangita. So she's no more. None of the other children and wife, none of them are alive. So he's lonely, and he's in a place like that. It is a psychiatric ward in a SSKM hospital.
Ma'am, I had seen all film of Ritik Ghatak ji. So which is your favorite film and why?
Okay, that was your question before. I digressed anyway. So, Ritik's favorite, I would say that I love Shubhanarekha very much. And also, I cannot tell you that which one is better than the other one, because each and every single one has its own aspect, and also the family and the family's breakup and all these things. Uh, those things are the most common thread of all of them, the political and the family thing. So this is why I would say that, and Ajantrik I have seen much later, because it was not out. Nagarik I saw once, so I don't remember it very well. And then the print was also not that great. But I love Megita Katara also. The trilogy is very good. And Jukti Takugappa I saw only once. And but all the words of everything, my husband used to say that each time you see, each time you learn different things. I mean, like every time it's kind of like all the films is enriching you with, because which, I mean, like you cannot finish by watching it again and again, because each and every time you see the other aspects. Like you mentioned at the beginning, that Ritik's films are so much educational also. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to know Ritik sir's personal life, as if how many brother sister, like he's your mama, how many brother sister he has, what was his mom and dad used to do, like your dada dadi or nana nani.
Right. In the undivided Bengal, my grandfather was a district magistrate and a collector, and he lived in most of his life in both areas. Like the part of those areas are now in West Bengal, and part of that in East Bengal. So basically, Ritik's father had been moving around for job, but he had a permanent home in Rajshahi. So Rajshahi is the place where the house recently they broke it down. I don't know whether you know about it or not. It was a homeopathy hospital before. Now it no longer that exists. They just broke it down. I heard. Now the mother is she was very strict, and she was also very educated. She um, did midwifery to a lot of um, needy people, the village people who need to have a baby delivered or something. So she helped them. So she was a social service oriented. So the family has that aspect that they're helping others all the time. And the father was, we have stories about my grandfather. I cannot finish those things, but one important one is that we heard that there was a criminal person who had a lifetime imprisonment. And what he did was that uh, there was a choice between hang to death and in prison. So he said he doesn't have to do either of them. He will work for me. He will he will take the biggest responsibility in my office, my safe box. That he's going to, he will be the sentry for that. And rest of his life, he was that until he died. So that was my father-in-law. I mean, not father-in-law, that was my grandfather. I heard stories about him because I was born in 51 and he passed away in the same year in October, I guess.
Ritik Da had how many
And
sister and the
the
brother?
brothers and sisters part, which is like the oldest brother, his name is Monish Khatak. He is one of the pioneer writers of Kallol Yug. Kallol Yug is in 1940s, and they're radicals. So what he did, like they wanted to break the rule of Rabindranath Tagore, and they said that no, we have to write stories on people who are street dwellers, pocket mars, and like all those pickpocketers and prostitutes and everything. So he wrote Potullangar Panchali. So that was like a phenomenal novel where the whole life is underworld people are doing. And how he collected those stories, everything is from real life. I mean, he made friendship with those people. And so there was a journalistic aspect of that. And also, he was a very famous poet, Monish Khatuk, and he was also an income tax officer. So they lived in Baharampur, which is in Murshidabad. So his wife is also very erudite. I mean, she was extremely intellectual, reading books. So all children, they also had 9 children. They themselves were nine, Ritik's family, and the oldest brother, his one of his daughter is Mahashweta Devi. Mahashweta Devi, and the son is the oldest son is Anish Khatak, and his wife is Geeta Khatak, who did the Nita's role.
And how
And then
sister?
there are sisters.
He was
After
he was the only brother.
Mahashweta,
He was the only brother, Monish ji. And how many sisters?
Monish is the oldest one. Then the second one who was born, but lived for little. And then there was another uncle who brought the aerial photography in India. His name is Shudhish Ghatak.
Okay.
Yeah, Shudhish Khatak, and he is like probably the biggest inspiration for Ritik to get into experiment with film and camera and everything. So Manish Khatak, then Sudhish Khatak, then comes Ashish Khatak. Ashish Khatak is Parambratu's grandfather. So Ashish Khatak was very much instrumental in Ritik's early life education because Ritik was a runaway at 14. At the age of 14, he ran away. So this uncle, he somehow managed to get him back. And in front of my father and grandfather, he put him there and he said that you cannot, this is not the solution. Because if you want to learn about the world, you cannot learn without going into education. So you have to educate yourself. So then he educated himself. He said, it's in his own words. He said that after that words from my father, he said that you cannot be, I mean, unless there is engineer, doctor, and all these type of professions, why they are there? Because they all got educated. So whatever you are interested in, you have to get educated about that. So that's why he said from then on, that tender age of 14, 15, I put myself into reading and cultivating, and I never ended that. So that was a very big tribute to his dad that way. See, that's why his dad pictures are there. Like Bari Theke Paliye is kind of like a fake portrayal of his own, because
he
he
take
went to
memories.
many places, but he came back finally to home. So that's why he was very much family oriented. So whoever talks about his alcoholism, his all these things, nothing matters, because he was creative. And Satyajit Roy himself said that he was a creator. We were all directors and everything, but he created things.
How,
So it is.
how many sisters, Ritik?
And then Ashish Khatak, Sudhish is after Sudhish is Ashish, and then after Ashish, there is another brother whose name is Lokesh, and he was a night navigator. He stood first, I heard, but that was long time back. But my mother used to tell stories. When he was 16, he was a child prodigy, so he went into Navy. And Second World War, he was in Navy and he was there and there. But then in early 1950s, he came back, and I guess he was very living very closely with Ritik around that time in Bombay and those coastal areas. And at that time, he actually gave the story of Madhumati. That is not published anywhere, but he himself told me that Bhabata আমার গল্পটা ঝেড়ে দিল in Bangla. It means that he took my story away. But Ritik did the scripting, and then it was done by Bimal. So this was the other brother, and then Lokesh, then Ritik. So Manish, Sudhish, Ashish, Lokesh, Ritik, five brothers, and then four sisters. Tapoti is the oldest sister. She was after Sudhish. She was there. Then Shampriti, who is my mother, who had the largest amount of contribution means I wouldn't say contribution, because it's your own brother and it's an unconditional love. So she did not expect anything from him, but he depended on her in many ways. And also, when it was in Madhya Pradesh, um, he was young and he fled away and all these things. After that, he started going to my mother's house more, like for vacations. Around teenage, you go to sister's house, married sister's house, because my mother got married in I think while he was born in 1925. My mother got married in 1929. So after that, all these years when he was there, he had been traveling to back and forth like Bilaspur and many other places wherever my parents were, getting transferred. So one is very close to Chirimiri. So that my second sister and my third sister, at that time they were grown up, because they are 10 and 12 years older than me. So they have vivid memories on those things. So they have numerous stories on that. And what my mother said, that in those days he was very creative. So with all the family members, he used to do a lot of programs, and one of the program was Tagore's birthday. So they celebrated that in that household, where Pramod and Prashant Lahiri, the producer of his his Ajantrik and Bari Theke Pali. So they were there, and so the Tagore thing happened in their home, and they said, well, it's happening here now. There is no picture of Tagore. So he said, I will create the picture. And then he came and he made some holes in a piece of paper, and then he shut off the lights, and then he hold it behind. He gave some light, and the whole picture came with the light. And then he told my sister Rina, he said, go stand there with a garland. So with that picture, now she was standing. So everything instant direction and the creativity. So that showed, my mother said, that what he was. So those kind of instant things he used to do all the time. My mother said that one day he came, he was there, and then again we didn't see him where he is. And then there were a lot of women who were visiting my mother, because they in Madhya Pradesh they used to have all kind of rituals, the haldi some kind of a ritual was going on. And all of a sudden a girl came and sat there with the hand like that, with these things, and fluent Chhattisgarhi, saying, ultimately they saw that it was, they took the gungat out, saw that it was Ritik, because he pretended to be a woman, and he did the acting so well that he fooled all the ladies. So he was like that.
I have last two question. I
And,
know I'm.
and the third sister is Brotuti. She is the art director of Pondicherry, Aravind Ashram, and at the same time she was the secretary of Mother. The mother, the French mother. She was there, and she used to be her secretary and cooked for her. So lifelong she had been there. The uncle was also there, because in Pondicherry they all have their jurisdictions of doing things. So my uncle was the agricultural part he used to take care of. She was the department head of art. Now and they all know 4 5 languages, and all the children, they'll also learn 4 5 languages. So the daughters are now exactly my sister's age. So she has also one daughter, so she is alive, but my aunt is not. So all the brothers and sisters are gone, and the youngest was their twin.
I know I'm taking a lot of time, but I have only two last questions, small. One is that कि everyone, मतलब जिनको पता है ऋतिक घटक साहब की फिल्में, I had seen Satyajit Roy's film also, all of them, but people say that कि Mr. Ghatak never got his due. So you being his relative, आपको क्या लगता है?
Never got his what?
Due, due.
Due.
हाँ.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say never, because this is right now, we can see how much he's appreciated. But definitely, he didn't compromise in many ways. He didn't. At the same time, what he wanted, that want was till his death, that he wanted the no this kind of separation and everything. So this is the thing which bothered him a lot more than anything else, because at the end, and the human relationships, I mean, he always thought about people like they are all equal, and they have their own dues. And that's why, even like, he was not materialistic or anything.
Yeah.
But when he chose to have a music system, he will get the best, because that we can hear the music well. So he would like to learn things like sarod and all these instruments from people who are like Alauddin Khan, Ali Akbar Khan, like that. I mean, like, everything is in a grandeur. But that same thing, at the same time, he wanted to spread around to others. And he tried to have his children into that. But unfortunately, he was frustrated. He was very much frustrated. And what he was looking for. And he, like Komal Gandhar, for instance, it's sort of like very similar to his own life and things like that. So a lot of people, and again, the wife, my mummy, she was a phenomenal person. I saw their loving relationships, but at the same time, they had some, uh, you know, problems, and then they were trying to solve it, and they both used to come to my mother, and my mother used to tell them who like how to manage everything. But unfortunately, and also he got sick, he never stopped his drinking and things like that. So those problems are there. But it's, whenever he did his work, he was fully focused. He had done those things. I mean, all the students can tell how he did.
Lastly, मतलब आपको अभी के बंगाली सिनेमा के बारे में क्या लगता है?
Well, the Bengali cinemas, like the one which but some of them are really nice. I like um, many of them, but since I live in United States, I don't have much option to see everything, but some of the premieres I have seen through Poromroto, because wherever he's making film, he's inviting me, and well, if I'm here, and he does super job. I mean, he's very balanced. I like Srijit's films. I like many films. I just only mention a couple of people because I don't know all of them. But certainly there are people who are making good films, and